We live in a country that was born out of a people's fervent desire to be free from tyranny. The thought of being free was so valuable to our forefathers that many were not only willing to fight for their freedom, but to bleed and die for it. So, with the things we've seen the Biden government getting away with in attacking parents and political rivals, is a precedent being established for future administrations to ignore this treasured freedom? Let's talk about that. Hey, welcome back to Enough with the Crazy. Since the advent of the Biden administration, many things have been done by our government that challenges the very essence of our freedom. And whether one is liberal or conservative, the idea of any government being permitted to abuse its power should be of great concern to us all because it threatens the very existence of our freedom. Now, as Joe Biden became president, federal law enforcement agencies, run by liberal extremists, began targeting everyday American citizens who publicly opposed their liberal agenda. According to a Reason magazine article written in 2021, Attorney General Merrick Garland told the FBI to investigate parents who yell at school officials about critical race theory. Also, before an oversight committee meeting on Capitol Hill, FBI whistleblowers came forward to testify that the FBI probed parents under the counterterrorism threat tag for protesting school boards. These were just everyday Americans like you and I, who are still having to fight against the Biden administration's support of introducing explicit sexual and misleading racist materials to young children in their blatant effort to indoctrinate their minds to their liberal thinking. Now, these are just parents who are fighting to keep their natural, unarguable right to have primary authority and influence over the care, well-being, and beliefs of their children. And that they have to do because this administration is actively supporting and promoting the nonsense that schools should be the one who decide what type of sexual and race-specific information is appropriate for young children, not the parents. And that they have to do because this administration is actively supporting and promoting the nonsense that schools should be the one who decide what type of sexual and race-specific information is appropriate for young children, not the parents. The Federal Department of Justice, the DOJ, has openly gone out of its way to unjustly prosecute Americans who stand up for conservative principles because they don't fall into line with the liberal narrative. Former President Donald Trump has been clearly targeted with extreme prejudice and legal action for things that Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden were proved to be unquestionably more guilty of. The timing of the DOJ's indictments against Donald Trump has always corresponded with any negative Hunter Biden scandal, clearly demonstrating the Biden administration's attempt to distract the public from their family's illegal activities. And with the unquestioning support of the extreme liberal media, all coverage was focused on Donald Trump as planned and none on the Bidens. Hence, any lasting effect on the public's awareness pertaining to the evidence of illegal activity in connection with the Bidens simply faded away amidst the unrelenting coverage of Trump. The inappropriate usage of the Biden DOJ is once again proven by how this newest indictment coincidentally corresponded with the testimony of Hunter Biden's ex-business partner Devon Archer testifying before Congress that Joe Biden was indeed aware of Hunter's usage of his father's position as vice president for leverage in his business deals, despite Joe Biden's continual claim that he knew nothing about them. To further expose the weaponizing of the DOJ, in specific reference to the recent Trump indictments brought by special counsel Jack Smith, famed attorney and Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz said this: "Under the indictment itself, Jack Smith could be himself indicted. He told a direct lie in this indictment. He purported to describe the speech that President Trump made on January 6th, and he left out the key words when President Trump said, 'I want you to demonstrate peacefully and patriotically.' You know, a lie by omission, under the law, can be as serious as a lie by commission." Because of how weak these current charges of Donald Trump seem to be, many experts believe that this indictment was intended to serve two purposes. First, to overshadow the testimony of Devon Archer, and second, to interfere with Trump's ability to win the 2024 presidential election. Now, all of this is to say that whenever a government is permitted by the people to misuse its power in their attempt to force its citizens into compliance with their agenda, the very privilege and nature of our freedom is endangered. All that the Biden administration has done over the years, and still continues to do, in weaponizing federal law enforcement agencies against Americans to force us all into their way of thinking has the dangerous potential of creating a precedent for future administrations. If we, as the people of this country, allow any administration to discard the rights and liberties our forefathers bled and died for, then we should expect that future administrations will feel justified to take the abuse even further than the one before them, as the precedent to do so would have been established. The lesson we need to remember is whenever we allow flawed men in government to get away with taking an inch of power, by virtue of their nature alone, they will inevitably attempt to take all power. This is partly why the Second Amendment exists. Our forefathers knew the dangers of what a government would do if there were no means of resistance to any oppression they would impose upon the people. Allow me to read an excerpt from an article written by Noah Schusterman in the Washington Post back in 2018. Alexander Hamilton, writing in the Federalist Papers, called a well-regulated militia the most natural defense of a free country. His anti-federalist critics agreed with the need for a citizens' militia, writing that a well-regulated militia, composed of the yeomanry of the country, have ever been considered as the bulwark of a free people. What he's basically saying is that we the people are those who both have the responsibility and the power to preserve our rights and liberties. We the people have to accept our responsibility to not allow any administration to oppress us through their attempt to weaponize federal agencies against us. And look, what causes me great concern about the things I see happening through the Biden administration is that they are continuing to abuse the government's power, and we're all not making enough noise about it. It's as if many don't even realize the precedent being set for governmental abuse of power against the citizens of our country by future administrations. Whether you're a conservative or liberal, once we allow the government to go unchecked in its abuse of power, that abuse will somehow, someday, be used against us. I mean, think about this. As liberals today are fine with the Biden administration's abuse of power because it is in line with what they want, what do you think will be forced upon them once the administration changes to a conservative influence and then they abuse their power because Biden did? That's the issue with any of us, conservative or liberal, permitting our government to have that kind of power. That's why, regardless of which side of the political aisle we're on, we all need to stand united in fighting to keep our freedoms intact by ensuring that our government never gets to weaponize its law enforcement agencies or military against us. Allow me to end with this. I have always been proud to be an American. I have always treasured and valued the freedoms that so many before me fought and died to secure for me. I never take advantage of my freedom, nor do I take it for granted, because I honor and value all those who took up arms and fought, and yes, even died, that I may live free. I honor what was given to me in my freedom with reverence, because I understand the value of that precious gift given to me, a gift bought and paid for with the blood of others. Because I so believe in the privilege of having freedom, I would stand a fight that even those who disagree with me will continue to have the freedom to disagree with me. As a country that was born out of the bloodshed for the privilege of freedom, let's not allow that freedom to quietly die because through our taking it for granted, we no longer value it enough to fight to keep it. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And if you enjoyed this type of content, please share it with others, as that would be a great benefit to me. And please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel, as that would immensely help me in growing the channel. Hey, as always, I'd like to say God bless, and thanks so much for taking the time to listen. Until next time.